Do we have a cam? Probably not. I probably have to recycle it again. Son of a bitch. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. It's the joys of broadcasting, right? Nothing ever seems to go right the first time, so you have to unplug it and plug it back in. Sometimes you got to spit on it a little bit. But there we go. There's my beautiful mug. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? What's going on? Welcome in tonight. This is my open dojo. I am your host, Warrior of the Garden, aka Justin. And tonight we are going to get into a very, very interesting topic. I've got one confirmed guest, and I'm probably going to have another one that'll jump in later into the show. Both are experts, I would say. In my book, they're experts because they've got firsthand knowledge and experience in this inset topic tonight of cults. And yes, the fifis are going to be hurt because we are going to be talking about MAGA and just demonstrating how they are a cult. And it's not going to be for the faint of heart. It's just the reality of it. I was part of the cult of MAGA, so I have a little bit of experience when it comes to cults. I just certain patterns and certain things arise when you can't criticize your leaders. Somehow that just doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't sit well with me. Everywhere I've been told my life to question authority, but then the army tells you not to question authority. Then you get out of there, and then you read in the Constitution that says once our government has become tyrannical, it's our duty to rebel. So, but then you realize that our government, our selected people, are nothing but crooks and criminals. So then now what are we left with? To peacefully rebel and just remove ourselves from the system, or do we try to go back into the system and see if we can find one more person to pull out and the humanitarian part of us? And I think that's the angle that I've been trying to do with my shows and stuff is to understand that none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, but we can learn from those mistakes. And what I see with what a massive pattern going on is that there's a lot of doing the same thing over and over and over again and somehow expecting a different result. And in my own personal experience, I'm pretty sure in other people's experience too, that doesn't really work too well. You really can't make changes in your life if you're doing the same things over again. Even if you're thinking it up here, the actions have to follow your thought. So yeah, it's been quite a day. It really has. This topic has been heavy on me for a while. I've been trying to find out a time and a day to do this, and it just when I reached out to my guest here, it was simply I didn't know why I did it. It was a complete whim. It was just one of those spark ideas you had in your head, and I immediately reached out to him. I immediately reached out to Wingnut, and I couldn't tell you exactly why. But then when I got the response back, I realized that was the right thing to do. That was the right decision to make because this topic needs to be talked about. It's been mentioned. I've mentioned it for over a year. Other people on the platform have also mentioned it for a year, but this is a topic that is not designed to point fingers, not necessarily point fingers and to ridicule, but it is simply to point out the actions, simply to point out the mistakes, the scenarios, the way people talk, the way they dress, the inability to criticize. All of these things and a ton of other stuff that I'm probably missing, to be honest. That's why I have a guest tonight. It's gonna be a great show. Okay, guys, I'm gonna set this up. A cult meeting now. That's not how you spell cult. Alrighty, I'm gonna go. I'm getting the setup in the background here. The reason why I'm doing this in the background is right now and I'm going to start this. I'm going to give Jerry. So Jerry, if you're out there, go ahead and check your DMs here in a second. For what I've noticed a couple times I've used Jitzi in the past, I started the show. and I started the actual meeting when I started the show, and for whatever reason, after about 2 hours, it would kick someone out. So I don't want that to happen. So instead, we're gonna start it now, and then I'm gonna have my guests come in, and that way, hopefully after a couple hours, I hope we've made our point. But here I don't want to dox my last name either. Hold on, sorry, excuse me, guys. I hope everyone's doing well today. I hope you guys are doing okay. The weather has changed crazy. My fiance went to her hometown in Rolla yesterday, and last night they had tornadoes. They had a tornado, a pretty big tornado ran through actually. About 3,000 people were out with power. No serious injuries. I don't think anybody died, so that's good. There we go. Okay, I'll get this here. Again, people, I'm not a professional, but I play one on TV. Alright, copy link here. And bring this up. And it's coming your way. Coming your way, buddy. Right meow. Paste. Okay. There's the Jitzi link. If you're listening, I'll go ahead and give you a text too. See here. Link sent. Alright. Excellent, excellent. So, we have 13 people here so far. Welcome in, everybody. I'm also broadcasting to BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, Kick, and DLive. And if you guys are out there on those platforms, welcome in. My ability to restream to the other ones is not working. It's not syncing up yet. So, hopefully in the future it will. But welcome in. And if you want to comment, the best way to do it is to come over here on Pilled and set up a free account, and that way you can comment, and we have stickers and all kinds of free fun stuff over here. So real quick through the chat, we have Mrs. Green Thumb, Zombie 5, Anita 71. We've got Maddie's mom, Mrs. Green Thumb again. You guys are active already. Dang, you guys are active. All right, so one last disclaimer, people. This show is for adults. We're quasi professionals here, and but we will be as respectful as we can about this topic. But I somehow I just don't see that happening to be too far, too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and get myself in here with my buddy, and I think I need to do this settings, and it's not that profile. Where is it? General. Hide self view. No. 2. Okay. Now, trying to figure. I gotta remember how to get myself up here. That's not it. Well, I gotta turn my camera on, I guess. Oh, I know. I have to do. Okay. I have to deactivate this. Okay, over here. Sorry, Jerry. I'm just learning over here. Still learning.
It's all good.
Still learning. Here we go.
I've never used Jitzi.
Yeah, I've used it a few times and it's pretty good. It works well, but I'm just trying to remember where oh wait, it might work if I just do this. If I actually turn the flipping camera on. Hey, there we are. Jeez Louise. Oh man. Let's see here. How do we do this? Tile. That's what I want. There we are. Now we're cooking with gasoline, guys. Right, here we are. All right, brother. How you doing? Welcome to my show.
I'm doing great, and thank you for the invite.
Absolutely. So, this topic you and I have discussed this privately, briefly, about cults, and more specifically the cult of MAGA. Yes. And I have said this for over a year, ever since I got off the Trump train, late 23, early 24. And I've mentioned it before. It's all over the internet. And I would like to talk about, the kind of the ins and outs of cults. How do they start? How do people get into them? What's the type of psychological warfare they use to keep people in the cults? And then how does that expand, not just in a religious sense, but also in a political sense as well? I mean, how does that graduate into the political scheme of where we have this massive tribalization of these political groups or ideology, but then it becomes so tightly knit is that it slowly becomes or quickly becomes a cult without these people even knowing it. So again, this isn't necessarily a poke at people in MAGA.
Oh no, no,
It's
not
just
at
because
all.
they most likely don't understand that
Well,
they you know what I'm
I
saying?
was I was also MAGA,
Yeah, me too.
and
Me too. Yeah.
I my exit from MAGA started with me deconstructing from fundamentalism. And
Okay.
having grown up in the Assemblies of God denomination, I was raised in a fashion to where politics and religion were so intertwined that as I started deconstructing the faith system that I was believing in at the time, because I saw things I couldn't agree with. You know, when Paula White was up there chanting for angels from Africa and South America, I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, 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 whoa. I have seen this thing at some witchy festivals.
Hmm.
What's going on here?
Right.
So I started asking questions. And by July 31st, 2023, I had fully deconstructed.
That's awesome.
So
Only
what I
only
did was I got down to looking at myself and figuring out what about me I like? What about me I don't like? What do I want to change? What aspects about myself I don't like that I might need in the future. So I'll tuck those away. I'll learn how to control those.
all right.
But yeah, that's how I ended up getting out of MAGA. But I also got into start looking at things like psychology and psychiatry. I'm almost 10 years into recovery myself. I recently graduated from group therapy and I'm working towards becoming a trauma recovery coach.
Awesome.
Um, when I started questioning my own the teachings that I had received, I started comparing them to what other people were taught. And of course, first thing I jumped into was the most bizarre one I could think of that had popped up in my face, and that was Scientology.
Hmm.
That was about 2.5 years ago when the protest started. And
Gotcha.
so I ran into Doug Scott Kramer and I learned the history of Scientology. And then I started looking at Mormonism and this, that, and the other. And it got me down to a point where I realized there is a system to this. I couldn't put my finger on it exactly. I could tell that it was mind control and manipulation. But then I found Dr. Stephen Hassan and his bite model and the influence continuum. With the bite model, that's behavior control, information control, thought control, and emotion control. That defines those are the four things that you need to start a cult. The influence continuum allows you to look at the organizational structure, the leadership of the organization, and the members of the organization separately to determine whether the group is good or bad, where they are on the spectrum, because not all cults are bad.
Hmm.
You know, it's when you get too far into the extreme on one end of the spectrum or the other that you start running into troubles.
That's kind of what I've noticed. That's kind of what I've noticed. It.
But when you have any kind of leadership that's telling you this is the only information to look at, don't look at anything else. Because where I grew up, man, it was King James Bible only.
Right.
You had that
Right.
King James Bible and you had that Strong's Exhaustive Concordance, and that's how you found all your answers. Everything else was
Yeah. I
compass.
I remember that additional book that concordance. Hey, man, keep going here. I just realized I had a green shirt and I have a green screen behind me, so I haven't changed my shirt. Keep going. I apologize here.
All
Keep
right,
going.
but with behavior control, you know, it's like that purity culture teachings where you get shamed if you've had premarital sex, or you've lost your value because you lost your virginity before marriage because somebody took advantage of you. Um, those behaviors end up later having serious ramifications. It makes it difficult for a person to navigate the real world when they get outside of that high control structure. Back to the King James Bible and the Strong's Concordance thing. That's that information control. Discounting outside sources. You run into that with people who are like, "Oh, I only believe CNN," or "I only believe Fox," or they get locked into a particular source. Me
Would
myself,
that be could that be um, similar to trusted sources?
yes,
People
yes,
people who what they consider to be a trusted source.
right.
Okay.
But if that trusted source is managed by some sort of leadership within the group, yeah, here's your trusted source. Like, go to National File, but don't pay attention to Business Insider.
Oh, so there's almost a way of gatekeeping information within the organization itself, within the cult, I guess. There's even so they even tell you where to look for the information or which information to look for. Is that
Well,
is that right? So do they limit? Is it where only a selected type of reading is allowed? Like you can
right.
only read these books, and
Yes.
don't look at the Book of Enoch, for example. Don't look at that. But everything else, you can look at the Apocrypha, you can look at everything else, the
Yeah.
outside of the
Well,
Gospels and whatever. But just don't look at Book of Enoch.
in the particular denomination I grew up in, we were King James only. You were not even allowed to look at a confraternity Bible, a Catholic Bible.
That's weird.
We were not allowed any extra biblical texts that did not come from Gospel Publishing House, the print shop for the Assemblies of God Church. They
Wow.
had we used those chick tracks. You remember those little comic book tracks?
Yes, I do because I went to Assemblies of
We
God Church. I do.
and those evolved into the Crusader comic books, which was
Yeah.
parallel to the early stages of Campus Crusaders for Christ.
I remember seeing the comics, but I was more into X-Men and Deadpool at the
Oh no, no.
time.
See, I was allowed to read Crusader comics, but uh, I wasn't allowed to read any other comic books except maybe Superman comic books or stuff like that from like back in the 50s.
Oh,
Classic comic books. Even
gotcha.
my comic books were limited. And in my own house, because the cult of one is where you have a single authority inside of a household. In my house, there were certain authors that were not allowed. Kurt Vonnegut was not allowed in my house.
Hmm.
I got to
Interesting.
college and Kurt Vonnegut's book, The Player Piano, was required reading, and I'm like, oh, now I understand why they didn't want me to read it because it was mind opening. And I went back and I talked to my dad. Hey, how come mom never read Kurt Vonnegut? She was a journalist. She was always doing research. She was always doing stuff. She loved books. Oh, Kurt Vonnegut was too liberal for our house.
Oh, oh, yeah. I understand
And
some.
that brings you to thought control.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
And then if you have behavior control, information control, and thought control, then the last plank, emotion control, is easy.
yeah,
By convincing people that other groups are not human or other than or less than themselves.
yeah.
That allows a people to put themselves as an elite collective. That's the cult. I mean, we had descriptives for every denomination outside the Assembly of God Church, and they generally were not positive.
See, I'm trying to remember when I was in, because when I lived in Rapid City, South Dakota, we went to Assembly of God Church, and then there was a Calvary Baptist next door. Um, and I remember that we really weren't supposed to intermingle with people outside of our denomination even having a conversation with like a Baptist or going having lunch with a Methodist was kind of a no go.
Well,
It's weird.
we were a little more relaxed in that environment. I mean, especially in my household because my dad's mom, my dad was Methodist. My dad grew up Methodist.
Hmm.
My mom went to I think it was a Southern Baptist, but she went to Baptist Sunday school growing up because she was trying to escape a bad home environment. And but yeah, um, and to respond to Chops, he dropped a message a while ago. No, it's hard for me to keep up with the chat and ramble too. So maybe I should scroll back.
Oh, you're good.
But yeah, when
No, Novaks.
um, so the way we got into the Assembly of God Church, my parents weren't feeling spiritually satisfied at the Methodist Church, and so they started the church home hunt, and we sampled the Mormons even. Well, that's a weird Mormon family night. Ooh, strange. That was strange.
No
But
thanks.
I digress.
Yeah, no thanks.
Anyway, I'm not exactly sure how it happened. I think Dad got the job at the flooring store, and that got him an invitation to a Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International meeting at the casino at the city park. We called it a casino. It was just, it was a municipal use building. The 4-H would have displays in there too. It was
Oh,
just
okay. I know what you're talking about.
there were weddings would be held in there and stuff.
It's a community
But
hall.
yeah, pretty much. But like on our third visit there was this like revival thing going on and this healing prayer service going on, and the African minister that was being featured at that particular meeting walked up to my mom and touched her ear and healed the deafness in her ear.
Huh.
Just like that. Just like that. My parents were all in on the AG church. Do you remember Lowell Mason?
No, I don't.
Lowell Mason was a little bitty a midget from Texas, and they said the only thing bigger than his mouth was his belt buckle. But I remember he showed up at our church. He and the Lowell Mason and family showed up, and right after the morning service, we had a potluck in the fellowship hall while the family set up their band equipment, and then they did this music show. Right? They were backed by the moral majority, and the one and only song that ever stuck in my mind was "Stay on the Firing Line." If you're for God and the right, you got to stay in the fight. Stay on the firing line.
Hmm.
That was right up there with I'm in the Lord's Army. So, and then got into the Royal Rangers. And if you had any experience with that, you understand they were a lot like the Boy Scouts with a strong focus on spiritual growth over social growth.
Yeah, I didn't like the Royal Rangers very much.
Dude,
I was like this is like Boy Scouts but for a churchy thing. Like why
yeah, well,
what's the difference?
I excelled at it. My dad became a Ranger commander, and
Yeah, my stepdad did too, and
my
he was a Cub Scout leader, assistant Cub Scout leader as well, and I just
my dad worked his way all the way up to being the regional commander of Southern Missouri. And then when I was invited to join the Frontiersmen's Camping Fraternity, the very next rendezvous we had after my initiation, I was voted in assistant scribe so that my dad and I would travel around together
huh.
to try to start new ranger outposts in Southern Missouri.
Oh wow.
All of Missouri, south of the Missouri River. That was our stomping grounds. That's how deep I was into it as a kid. I wore my uniform to church. I mean, to school every Wednesday. I had three rockers up, one
Yeah,
rocker down as a trail
I
ranger.
remember those kids. Yeah.
I had the chevron filled in the middle. I had it all, man. I had won more ribbons for my uniform than I could legally wear on my uniform. I was like Order of the Arrow type of Royal Ranger.
Super Scout over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I ran off into the United States Air Force because, It was the Red Scare and the Satanic Panic and Cold War. That was in '82 when I joined the military.
Yeah,
I
early
was
'80s.
full on Christian nationalist, man. I had no clue. You don't know you're in a cult till you find out you're in a cult.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what are some of the, I don't know. I want to say um, big red flags that pop up whenever you come across some information like, well, this sounds pretty culty. What are the flags that you look for immediately when you're looking at a new organization fresh, or you're just something like that? What are some of the red flags you recognize as being in a cult, or of a making of a cult?
Um, well, adherence to the bite model. Are they controlling behavior? Are they controlling information? Are they controlling thoughts and emotions? Um, a perfect example. I recently became aware of a church here in St. Louis that is getting ready to open their third campus. All right,
Third?
third campus,
Ooh, that's a lot of money.
and the third church that they're opening is just, what would you say, half mile from Tivoli. Yeah, so the third campus is opening like a half mile or something from one of the other campuses.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I need to check these people out. I look at their website, and I really didn't see anything that that was seemed to provide any sort of red flags, right? I didn't see anything on the website that was like blatant. I saw some things that caused me to go, wait, what do you really mean by this? And then I checked, and they had a YouTube channel link on their webpage. So I went and looked at their YouTube channel, and they have a series, a 5 video series of sermons on dysfunctional relationships. I'm like, all right,
Really?
this sounds like a good place to start investigating. I'm about 15 minutes into the first episode. It's like 38 minutes long. And the guy is making a lot of sense, but I have yet to hear him make reference to a Bible scripture. No book, chapter, or verse when he's talking about Bible characters with dysfunctional relationships. He's like, well, we know about them, and then applies it to a modern situation. But there's not a reference there, so that if somebody doesn't know that story, if they just walked in, they wouldn't be able to pick up the book and go, oh, and read the reference in context. So I'm going to investigate more. I haven't decided. They seem kind of culty, but the outward appearance of the work that they do in the community is good. So I haven't made up my mind yet. I
You
haven't
got
made
you
up
got
my
to use that good old fashioned discernment every once in a while, right?
Exactly, exactly. And but then again, there's sometimes when somebody says something, it's like, boom, yeah, that's culty.
Hmm.
Like when Greg Locke made reference
Oh
to
gosh.
made reference to Muslim extremists and their vests, and that Christians should learn to do the same and have the same kind of devotion to Christianity. I'm like, time out, man. That's
Well,
a
I mean,
comparison size red
outside
flag.
of his extreme support for Israel, despite whatever they're doing,
Right.
and that whole thing, and I'm thinking, well, and then he did one. I was actually in Tennessee when this debate was supposed to happen, but I ended up getting a massive migraine. I couldn't go, but
Right.
I wanted to go, and it was this. I can't remember the pastor's name, but he came from Texas, a small church in Texas, and the discussion was biblical flat Earth, and
Oh boy.
yeah, well, boys, right. So the preacher from Texas came with some facts and stuff like that, like an actual presentation. And Greg Locke goes, whoa, 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 whoa! I didn't realize this was supposed to be a debate. And I'm thinking to myself, are you? No, 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 no. Wrong answer. Flag on the field. 30-yard penalty. Do not repeat first down. Fourth down punt. You're done. Get out of here. You're done. Because I'm thinking to myself, what you mean to tell me you're gonna have a guest from somebody who has to fly in for 3 hours on a plane, probably spend half a
Right.
day traveling just to get here and have a conversation, and then you berate him? I mean, does he not? Has he not read the book of Genesis at all? Has he not read the other 200 plus passages that reference a flat type Earth? I mean, when it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm thinking to myself, this has got to be a cult. This has got to be a tent cult because the way that Greg Locke speaks is all about is all based from the Schofield Bible institutional learning. It's like when did it become necessary? And this is a bit of a sidebar. When did it become necessary for if we're supposed to Jesus calls us to preach the word and preach the good news? When was
Right.
it necessary to get a degree in seminary in order to do do that?
Exactly.
Why can't we be autodidactic? Why can't
Well,
we be
now,
self-educated people and
okay, I'm
just go
glad.
from the spirit? That's it's a sidebar. It's a sidebar comment. That's all it is. You don't have to.
I'm actually glad that you brought up that degree thing, that doctorate at the seminary might not necessarily even be a doctorate at a legitimate seminary. I mean, a lot of these new apostolic Reformation doctors
Yeah.
have read 6 books and wrote a book report, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you got it."
It's an
And
internet degree.
right, exactly. And then you get
That's
people
awesome.
like Dr. Michael Brown.
Somebody who's been reading books since they were 5. Yeah, and massively and yeah, you have there. It's funny. It's funny who's considered an expert because I look at the shyster and fair. I think he's a Pharisee to be honest. Pastor Greg Locke to be completely honest. His sensationalism and all that kind of stuff. It just reminds me too much of the hokey pokey, large stadium, evangelistic work that gives
Okay.
Christianity in general a bad name. I think. Uh,
Do you know who one of Greg Locke's prime personal buddies is? Who he's spiritual advisor to?
Somebody I probably should know, but who?
Michael Flynn.
Get the out of here.
I am not kidding.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
Greg Locke and
that
Mike
is that's
Flynn.
dude, that honestly that brings a circle back to me. Thanks for Pasaki me and giving me a circle back on that one because that was I was really wondering where Greg Locke was fitting in with the because I've seen him with the
It's the
Awaken
real Wake
America
American
tours
tour.
and stuff like that.
Okay, so if you want to take a good look at the Reawaken America tour from the background, go check out Magical Mystery Church. Laura, she's on YouTube and on Rumble, and it's not a she's not a church.
Not sure. She's
But
she's an
she
individual.
she she talks about people like Alice Bailey and the Reawaken America tour, and I've gotten a lot of information from her, but I also feed her a lot of information. We work loosely together.
Okay,
And
that's
we
cool.
work loosely together with John Collins from Leaving the Message,
Yeah,
who
I know
grew
who
up
that
in the
is.
William Branham cult. His grandfather was elite, was royalty in the Message. His grandfather was personal friends with William Branham. I'm talking about Charles Paisley.
Wow, wow,
I know Charles Paisley.
that's a small world.
Yeah, but yeah, and then when you look at the history that the Assembly of God Church was originally founded in 1914 by 300 white preachers and laymen that decided to leave a black dominated denomination and go to Fort Smith, Arkansas and start a new church. And then a bunch of them got together with a bunch more of their buddies in 1915 and set up the Klan.
As in the KKK clan.
Yes. The number two in
Jeez.
charge of the
Wow.
at the when the 1915 Klan was founded, the number two in charge was Roy E. Davis. When he got arrested from behind the pulpit by the feds, William Branham was sitting in the congregation. Roy E. Davis was William Branham's mentor. 2 weeks after Roy Davis got arrested, William Branham opened up another church just a couple of blocks up the street. He gave us people like Oral Roberts, the guy that gave us Ken Copeland,
Yeah.
John Osteen. Joel Osteen's daddy or
Oh, so
granddaddy.
gave all the daddies of all the big evangelists that have been in the last 50 years.
He gave us Jim Jones.
Well, that's a bad cult,
Yeah, and Jim Jones
obviously.
was originally ordained in the Assemblies of God Church.
I did not know that. Although,
That that was one of
huh.
the things that blew my mind wide open. And about 2 days before the JFK assassination, William Branham was actually in Dallas, Texas, saving the life of a transgender prostitute who later was
What?
taught this transgender prostitute who was the son of one of the Assemblies of God photographers that owned that William Branham halo picture. Where I don't know if you know it, I can pull it up here in a second.
Yeah,
Uh,
go ahead. I think you have sharing capabilities, so go ahead and share that if you will. I'm gonna go ahead and make the. I'm gonna do some adjusting on my side here. I'm gonna make the screen a little bit bigger for the rest of us, for everybody here,
all right.
so that we can see things larger than life. There we go. We'll just do this. We'll do this, and we'll pull it down here. There we go. That'll work. That looks pretty. That looks pretty. So, thank you everyone for being here tonight. Thank you for spending your time here. Thank you for the red pills and the one blue pill we got there at the top there. I'm not quite sure what that's all about, but
Oh, I've
yeah,
got a blue pill stalker.
yeah, that's fine. I don't care because it's
I
just
don't care
it's
either.
funny. I just think it's funny because I just call them. I have choice words that I call those type of people, but I'm trying to keep it PC. Try to keep it a little PG-13 tonight.
Right.
Trying to try to. We'll see what happens later though.
See.
Should be
Hmm.
there should be a little box, a little TV screen that has an arrow pointing to the right. It says start screen sharing. So if you move your mouse over the bottom of the screen,
Yeah. And
little
I'm seeing the three dots here and here. Let me get myself. I don't see anybody in the Rumble chat. So, um, let's see. More actions.
Nova X. No, people, you are not allowed to disagree unless you're in the cult. If you're outside the cult, then you're not allowed to disagree. But if you're in the cult,
Right.
then
You're,
you're
yeah,
not going to
you're,
disagree anyway. So
oh my goodness. I don't see how to. I see share video, share audio. I'm not seeing
uh,
a share
even
screen.
over by your microphone on the bar when you put your mouse on the bottom of the bar,
Oh, okay. There
you
we
you
go.
see the little
I got it.
microphone, your
Yeah.
camera, your hand raised if there's too many people here in the chat.
All right. So there's the William Branham halo picture.
Okay.
That was taken while Branham was at the pulpit in a stadium. That picture was claimed to prove the divinity,
Oh, I
God's
okay.
anointment,
I'm
right?
I'm seeing it
But
now.
actually,
Yeah.
what's going on right here, which has been proven in other photo analysis, that's actually one of the stadium lights.
I was gonna say that looks like stadium lighting. Is what that looks like.
Yeah, but it's so out of focus. And it just so happened that the guys that owned the copyright on this picture were Assemblies of God Movers and Shakers in the Full Gospel Discipline Fellowship. He had a son, one of them had a son that that was transgender and got arrested for murder and was looking at death. So they sent William Branham down to Dallas. This is just a few days before the JFK assassination.
Okay.
And Branham goes in there and teaches this guy how to pull off this whole Elijah persona.
Get out of
I
town.
am a messenger of God. So they deem him insane and ship him off to an asylum. And he breaks out of it.
Oh, how
Years
convenient.
years later,
Wow.
ends up this individual ends up becoming one of the premier transgender rights promoters during the Obama administration. Personal friends with Barack and Michelle.
Which was who?
Um,
Do you remember the name?
not off the top of my head, but I've got the website up here. I can
Okay, that's cool. Yes,
pull
Miss
that up.
Green Thumb. Exodus 20, chapter 20, verse 3. Yep, that's a good one. That's probably one of my better stickers I made. Thanks, Jobs. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the shades. Not necessary, but appreciate it. So yeah. This is a good night. We're gonna get we're gonna get a little nastier here shortly, people. And then I'm gonna have.
I noticed that there's supposed to be some conversation later about some chaos magic, and I've actually discovered the antidote to chaos magic,
Oh,
healing
okay.
magic,
All right.
healing magic.
Well, when we get Mr. Energy in here, then we'll have that conversation. But first, I want to
Yeah.
go. I want to when you found your thing there. I want to slowly move into um, how MAGA specifically is a cult. I want to have things we can prove of why they're a cult because
Okay.
the claim is there, and now we need to bring the information to the table.
Okay. I am not finding the particular link immediately, but what I can do is I'll go pull up the video and post it on my Pilled account.
Okay.
And from there, what I'll end up doing, you can just go and watch the whole Dallas episode. It's about an hour long.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha.
And, but it just so happens that some of Branham's friends that lived in the Dallas area, because there's this big suburb on the east side of Dallas that's currently heavily populated by charismatic evangelical preachers.
Hmm.
Back in
Convenient.
the early '60s, it was heavily populated by members of the Klan.
Oh. Oh.
Anyway, some of those guys were like definite haters of Kennedy, and I don't know if you remember from looking at that whole story, but there were flyers that were put up trying to warn black people away
Uh huh.
from showing up.
Yep.
It was Branham's buddies that put those up.
Oh, that's
So
nice of them.
that means the Assemblies of God Church, at least on the very fringes, has some connection to the assassination of JFK. So that puts Oral Roberts, Ken Copeland, all them into it. So why is Trump not releasing the full unredacted files on the JFK assassination?
Well, are some of those people still alive?
Yes.
Would that be the reason why, or would it be because it would it would lead back to the Assembly of God Church?
It would lead back to not only the Assemblies of God Church, but the entire New Apostolic Reformation. That would catch up Bethel, that would catch up Hillsong, that would catch up Morning Star, that would catch up all of Flashpoint, that would catch up Daystar TV. It would catch them all up.
Now, for
It would
people
bring the whole system down.
who don't know what that is, um, the name is I'm forgetting the name, but what all those churches you name, what is that?
Okay, Bethel Reading is where Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry is hosted. It's also where Carl Lentz was disgraced
So
right before he became Justin Bieber's personal preacher.
are these a lot of churches that do like the new wave esoteric sort of
Oh,
preaching?
Bethel, yeah, Bethel
Okay.
and Hillsong both do like 2 hours of worship music.
Okay,
That
okay,
like
so we're talking about
that's their
yeah,
music, and they get royalties from people
Marie
that
St.
play.
Clair. We're talking about churches like that. Marie St. Clair characters.
Yeah,
Okay, all right. So yeah, we're talking all the mysticism, the 7 Day Adventist, the seventh Ray Adventist. I think we're talking about
yeah,
where
Sevenfold Rays,
yeah
Elizabeth
where she
Fair
came
Prophet.
from and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay, so we're who it's funny. What kind of got me started in this whole like MAGA as a cult is the exact same. There's a prayer that she did in the early '80s, and General Flynn had repeated that same prayer, I believe in 22, I think it is 21.
I've actually got that clip.
So you do?
Yeah.
Do you have it ready? Let's play it for the people. Let's hear it right from the horse's mouth, people. This clip originally came from technically you would call them I don't know, French Christianity or a New Age Christianity, where they're light, love, and understanding, and peace and prosperity, and la 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 la, and never really preaching from the Bible and that kind of stuff. But here we go, people. Here we go. This will be good.
Mighty I am present. I am here, O God, and I am the instrument of those sevenfold rays and archangels.
We are your instrument of those sevenfold rays and all your archangels, all of them.
And I will not retreat. I will take my stand. I will not fear to speak, and I will be the instrument of God's will, whatever it is.
We will not retreat. We will not retreat. We will stand our ground. We will not fear to speak.
Why is he not praying?
We will be the instrument of your will, whatever it is.
Here I
He's leading them in an oath.
Right. Exactly.
And
yeah.
in his version, he's leading the oath to the Archangel Michael, which he views himself as the Archangel Michael. Elizabeth Clare Prophet, though, she's talking to Saint Germain.
Different. Yeah.
Very different. They call them Ascended Masters, but if you look at the stories, the origin stories of the Ascended Masters, they're the exact same as Lucifer.
Yeah.
They're actually fallen angels.
Precisely. So when I got into and it goes on for another 60 seconds, people, but the thing is that when I first started asking questions, I went to a certain channel and I asked a question, and all I got was pushback and ostracizations and like, you're dumb, what are you doing, you're retarded, he never said that, and then I dropped the link, and then I get ignored. So I'm
Right.
like, well, I was trying to understand, why General Flynn, supposedly a Catholic, would repeat something like that, even if it was modified a little bit to Saint Michael, or Archangel Michael. But again, why aren't you praying to God? Why aren't you praying to Jesus? Why are you praying to an angel? And the whole thing is that he's not praying. He's reciting a speech he did not write himself. You
Right.
can tell. You can tell he didn't write it by the way he pauses and finds where his spot's at, where he lost it, and then he stutters a little bit and keeps going again. He didn't write the speech, people. He was just repeating it. Now, the questions I was having is, why is he even repeating this? If somebody was as smart as he, don't you think he'd be able to go online and just type in a couple sentences and see if the internet came up with any kind of collective speech, or maybe somebody else had done the speech itself as well? The answer,
I've actually got some insight for you on that. Sticking with the Reawaken America tour,
okay.
who's one of its biggest sponsors? Flashpoint, right?
Oh yeah, Flashpoint USA.
Which is part of Ken Copeland Ministries, right?
I didn't know if they were, but I'll have to take your word for it.
The Victory Flashpoint is part of the Victory Channel, which is owned by Ken Copeland Ministries, and simulcast on Morning Star, which is run by anyway, well, we can talk about that another time. I've got a 46-second clip I want to show you from Ken Copeland that's going to answer a ton of questions for you.
Okay.
When I first heard about this, I was like, no way. And I went and found it, and it's like, yeah, way.
Who was the biggest loser?
This guy.
Satan? No. God. God
What is he wearing?
lost his man. God lost the woman he created with his own hands. God had given Adam absolute authority over this planet, and his own created son committed high treason and bowed his knee to the devil, and the devil took over.
So Ken Copeland right there, and he said it many times. God is the biggest loser in the Bible, not Satan.
Yeah.
So,
and my favorite is when he gets all gross in the face when he's talking about the covenant of Jesus. You know, he gets all squinty eye and rat face looking. I'm like, ooh, okay, all right, just time out, dude, time out.
Right.
Take it time. You know, power of Christ
right
compels
now,
you. Here's some garlic.
Right now, he's the patriarch of the movie, or the movement.
Yeah.
Now.
So wild.
You remember that Inside Edition clip about the jet? And you remember he invoked Tyler Perry's name, right?
Invoke Tyler Perry's name?
Yeah, that's who he bought the jet from.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Tyler Perry made me such a good deal, I just couldn't pass on it. Well, who's one of Tyler Perry's good buddies?
Jeffrey Epstein.
And P. Diddy.
And P. Diddy.
And Kanye's begging Trump to get P. Diddy out.
Oh, gee, I wonder why. Man, isn't it gross how all these people are freaking connected this way? It's so nasty. It's just so gross.
This is what happens when you start pulling on that thread, when you start asking questions and then start questioning the answers you find. The whole sweater falls apart.
It does. Yeah, you start to unravel the lies pretty quickly. And that's all that's all it's based off too, is a bunch of lies and deceit and blackmail and bribery, and you know, nothing Christ-like at all in it. Except for you know, saying the word maybe, but if they can say the word without squinting their face, getting all, you know, like they bit into a sour apple or something.
Next prophet says, "This man terrifies me." We used to drive to Joplin so Dad could watch him speak live.
Really, Kenneth Copeland?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I bet that I would like to hear him speak one time, in public. You know, just to hear it. Right. You know, I do about 10-15 minutes of it, and I walk out. I'm like, all right, I'm done with this guy. I'm good. I'm gonna move on. So now we've talked about some religious cults, some basic red flags for people. I want to hone in on MAGA now. Right. Both of us have made the claim that MAGA is a cult. There's been a lot of people in my chat that also agree with our statement. Now, the video we just showed you guys of General Flynn, that was probably the first moment that I realized that there was something severely wrong with MAGA. Didn't know what it was. I was calling it an idolization of a man, is what I was calling it, because I was seeing a lot of, you know, all the swag, all the merchandise that was being pushed. The Bible, the Trump Bible had just come out, which has the Constitution in it minus amendments 11 through 17, right. which I mean.
11 through 27, but yeah.
Oh yeah, 11. Yeah. So I thought it was 11 through 17 they were missing, but
no, they took out everything.
Well, they just leave the Bill of Rights.
Yeah, the Bill of Rights 1 through 10, and that's it. The original Bill of Rights, none of the additional amendments.
Gee, that kind of sounds a little Noah Hyde-ish, don't you think?
Yeah, that's the way to put
it. Okay, so when I was when I had I detoxed. I took 2 months of detox from the news, late 2023 into 24. Then I started asking questions like, why is there so much worship, so much desire for these people to have a leader, to have someone ruling and making decisions for them? Are they not able to govern themselves? Are they not able to make decisions for themselves? You know, and then I when I started questioning, that's when I realized that we're dealing with something here that is tribal or very, you know, this is my diehard. I used to call them diehard fans. die in the wool, like the Raider fans, for crying out loud. Like when the LA
Yeah.
Raiders, when they had the face painted, the shoulder pads of doom and everything else,
Right.
people get in fights and whatnot. I mean, crazy stuff. But so I liken it to, I liken the behavior to things that I've seen in other locations around the world and other fields, if you will, other
Well, I
areas of
recognize
operation.
I recognize the tribalism within MAGA because I had been part of the modern primitive community for a while as a fire spinner and a sideshow performer. So I understood clickiness. I understood, that we're a group, and we're inclusive as long as you are like us. And when I saw how vicious of a backlash could happen within MAGA just for asking a question, and I heard somebody ask a particular question. Again, I'm drawing a blank on the name, but they asked a question about a Trump, an association that Trump had with one of his former buddies that was a modeling agent owner, like Trump. And he got banned from Truth Social for life, just for that one question.
For asking a question about a connection between Trump and a model agency?
Yeah.
Wow. That should say, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and put on my spelunking gear.
John Casablancas.
I don't know who that is.
What about the connection between Donald Trump and John Casablancas? And that got him banned from Truth Social for life.
Really?
And he was a Trump supporter.
Huh. That's
Still, as far as I know, I haven't really talked to him in a while.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
I knew there'd been some stuff between controversy about Trump and Miss Universe and that thing, but we're not really talking about that particular stuff tonight.
No.
But so go ahead.
But when you ask a question and you get banned, or you bring evidence and you get dogpiled,
right?
These are the kinds of things that are symptomatic of cult behavior.
So the inability to question.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the information control. and thought control. You're not allowed to think for yourself.
So gatekeeping, we could say.
Yeah.
Or fact keeping. We can use that as well. Okay. So
as far as the gatekeeping goes, there's a model, the umbrella model that the independent fundamentalist Baptist churches use. You have the little umbrella, that's the patriarch of the household.
Okay.
And who falls under the preacher's umbrella, which is the congregation, who falls under the board's umbrella, which is the regional.
Okay,
which
that makes
falls
sense.
under the denomination's umbrella. So it's that same sort of layering thing.
Like a reverse pyramid. Almost.
Yeah. So that's why you've got digital cult leaders like Alex Jones over here in one corner.
Yeah,
and
that's for sure.
Pick any other weirdo out there that's got a big following. Russell Brand.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And then you get some folks that, Alex Jones has got everything. Well, what about this, that, or the other? What about these intelligence guys? How's he getting his information? Oh, he's not CIA. Oh, really? Okay. But so who's feeding him the information? Well, he's admitted he's got family members that have been in intelligence. I'm like, okay, so now what are we going to do with this? Hey, should we go talk about Tucker Carlson and who his dad was?
Yeah, right.
And then you're going to tell me that Alex Jones? I mean, come on, you get these little subcults within the cult. You look at Tulsi Gabbard. She's part of a yoga cult.
Miss Tulsi Gabbard?
Yeah.
You mean this one? Miss Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah.
And then you look at Pam Bondi. She's a friend of Scientology.
Huge friend of Scientology. She's given a lot of money to Scientology Church.
That's another cult. And so that's another cult that's been pulled in within MAGA. So MAGA is actually a conglomeration of cults. And they're not even necessarily working towards the same goal. I mean, look at Dave Rubin versus Nick Fuentes.
Very, very different podcasts.
Yes, very different. But they're still aiming for Trump. in support.
Well, not necessarily Nick Fuentes anymore. He's calling it
Yeah,
out. He's flipped now. 6 months ago, he was on he was preaching a different tune, but today, very similar to what we're talking about. Well, to my rhetoric at least, um, about certain topics. So what about the way people dress? Does that have Is that like when you were in the Church of Latter Day Saints? Were you allowed? Did you have a
No,
uniform
I
or?
was Assembly of God, not
Sorry,
LDS.
sorry, Assembly of God. Because I knew an
Um,
Assembly of God because when I was in school, like because I went to a private school for a couple of years there at the church, there was certain things that we couldn't wear.
yeah, yeah.
So
There was definitely a restrictive dress code
so
within
so
the
what
church.
about identifying types of clothes like red hats or Trump shirts? Is
Cross around your neck, but yeah, Trump shirts.
okay.
I mean, if you walked into a Trump rally wearing a Harris Wallace shirt, I guarantee you that it would be a bad day,
Oh, your shirt would be ripped off for sure.
at the very least.
Yeah, yeah, at the very
At the
least.
very least.
And so, what about the ability to criticize the cult leader or selected people that are maybe with higher levels within the church? We're using the church here, for example, maybe high
Right.
levels within the church, but maybe in MAGA land, people who are influencers, they have large channels. Could they do they not also gatekeep?
Oh, definitely they gatekeep with
Okay,
their own agenda.
so how would that like how what does that look like though? What is someone who's gatekeeping? What does their agenda look like?
Well, we could use two female MAGA examples right off the top. We got Candace Owens, who thinks dinosaurs are fake and gay. And then we got Allie Beth Stuckey, who's all about a traditional patriarchal relationship. Not quite Latter Day Saint trad wife, but she definitely promotes that submissive wife thing. And so you got two MAGA influencers with very different narratives.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Not sure if that answered your question.
Well, kind of. I don't think I asked the question very well anyway. Very well to begin with. Um, so we have a group of people who are are not allowed to question the narrative. And it's very evident by the response they get when questioned themselves. It could be on Pilled, it could be on X, it can be anywhere.
Anyway,
It doesn't matter where it's at. It
in
could
real
be
life.
yeah, in real life. It could be anywhere. Hold on, hey buddy, how you doing, InnerG? We're almost ready for you to start speaking. So we have the rhetoric here. Okay, I'll just go ahead and I have no problem naming names or anything like that. But like Average Joe Patriot, that was the one where I asked a question about General Flynn because supposedly he spoke. He spent time with him and quote unquote, I made himself appear to be an expert. So supposedly, and so I went in his chat and I asked a question, and I got ridiculed and rejected, and that's right there. Again, you're questioning the narrative. How dare you question the narrative? If and then we because we don't know how to respond to it.
Questions not allowed, man.
Right.
Not at all. Not at all. So they look the same. They dress the same. They have the same rhetoric. Now the rhetoric is very interesting to me. I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but if you go to the higher level, like the Dan Bonginos, Alex Jones, the Cat Turd, that kind of stuff. You go to basically the top 10, the top 15 of Rumble right now. Don Jr. And all those guys who are being all within the wellness company mafia, as I like to call it. And if anybody doesn't understand what that is, you're behind the eight ball a little bit. Okay, so go investigate who takes money from who takes endorsements from the wellness company, and you'll find and you'll find exactly the exact same rhetoric between everybody underneath that umbrella.
Out of curiosity, are you familiar with a health and wellness guy out there that's selling vitamins by the name of Dr. Eric Berg?
I've heard the name, but I haven't looked into him at all.
Well, he grew up Mormon and married a Scientologist.
Wait, what? That's like a cat marrying a dog.
That's already
no.
It's already
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
It actually makes sense when you know the whole story. But he grew up Mormon and he married a Scientologist, and he forces his employees to practice Scientology.
Okay.
Scientology uses Mormon banks for their money. Also, during the pandemic, Scientology and the Mormons became really good friends with China.
Now, see, I did know that. I did know that part.
And they are also both very open about their work with the United Nations.
Yeah. I heard. I read some articles about that. Again, not too familiar with the action there, but.
Do you remember when the LDS Church introduced the Jesus on their logo?
No, I do not.
That's when they climbed in. They did that when they climbed into bed with the Catholics.
Which was when?
I'll be back. I'm not trying to interrupt. I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette.
All right. Sounds good.
That's happened within the last decade, I think.
Okay.
But anyway,
so far we have they dress alike. You know, they all have the "Make America Great Again," the red, white, and the black hat.
Yep.
They got the T-shirts. They have the flags in their display. There is no ability to question the narrative at all.
Right.
And the supporters will come at you with a fever. They'll come at you with a malintent to discredit you somehow or whatever. But also that goes with that on the fourth. I think it's on the fourth point we're here. Is that there's when there's response to your questions or to the pushback, it's not informationally based. It's only emotional responses that I see and that I get. Is that your? Yes. Is that your? Yes. Okay, so you're concurring on that as well.
One of the biggest experiences that I chronically have with the pushback is when I ask for counter information. Hey, I'm willing to change my mind if you give me information that will change my perspective. And all I get back is opinion or rhetoric. And it's like, that doesn't work. You're not convincing me. I need hard evidence. Bold claims require solid facts.
Right. And the things that the points that I made tonight here are facts. They're not undisputable. You can't, because the thing is that if they were disputable, the assumption would be that MAGA would already be throwing out these links and these facts or whatever it is. But when you have such a if you're not on the train, then fuck you attitude. There's that such a large attitude of that, and there's zero desire to find out any additional information outside of their scope of reality. And that's what the psychological thing that comes into it. I call it a psychological addiction to the idea of Trump. And so what I mean by that is people who have been addicts, people who've had trouble with alcohol and drugs before, you're always in recovery in a way, but you're the way that the funny thing is that it doesn't matter if it's drugs, methamphetamines, alcohol, sex, whatever your bugaboo is, whatever your bogey bait is. The brain operates the same. In an MRA, it lights up the exact same way every single time, and then your brain ends up producing a dopamine, which is one of the most addictive substances in the world. Your brain produces it. So when you put yourself into a warm, fuzzy environment, which is right there within MAGA people, within the MAGA crowd, you're in the herd, so you psychologically you feel good, and so you want more of that good feeling by being with supposedly like-minded people. You know,
One of the big things about cults, and I look back at how warmly I was greeted, 8 years ago and 9 years ago now, almost a decade ago, actually, I guess, when I decided to start campaigning for Eric Greitens and Donald Trump.
uh-huh.
I was warmly received by my fellow Republicans. And the party of family values is shredding families.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean,
absolutely.
Because of the work I feel like I need to do now, because I feel like this cult mentality needs to be addressed, and that's why I keep doing it. But I'm sacrificing contact with my son and my grandkids who live right here in the city.
It's also the herd mind.
And I've just, for the last couple of 3 days, I've been having a bit of civil friction with my dad over this stuff, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
More than frustrating.
Yeah, it is,
because it breaks down the compassion that we could be sharing together. And what did Christ teach us? Love one another. It's simple.
Yeah, golden
Take
rules.
care of each other.
Treat others as you want to be treated.
Feed the hungry, house the homeless, welcome the stranger.
Yeah, be a nice guy. Or try to be a nice person all around. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. So back on track here with the cult of MAGA. We've gone through some points here, and there's also the whole psychological aspect of it, that people want to be part of a group. They want to be part of the herd. I look at these content creators who are continuously pushing the MAGA trusted plans sort of thing, is that they're in the middle of that herd. You know what I mean? They're in the middle of that herd. So Salty, this is not this is a very limited hangout tonight. I have two guests who have personal experience about being in cults, not just the MAGA cult, but actually outside of that. So these guys are going to be talking tonight, and next week I'll open it up for everybody. So don't be upset. It's just I had planned this earlier this week, and this is the structure of the show that I'm going to have. So
Chops brings up a really good point. Emotional cognitive override is also how Mike Bickle is moving back into IHOP KC. Because, I don't know if you've been tracking that story.
no, I have not.
Mike Bickle, there was a 68-page report released on Mike Bickle, a MAGA preacher in Kansas City, International House of Prayer, Kansas City.
Okay.
17 victims, at least 17 victims, with at least 200 witnesses. Dude's still walking around on the street. He's been relieved of official ministry, but they're going to restore him into unofficial ministry. Whatever that is.
What is unofficial ministry?
What is that?
I don't know.
Unofficial ministry.
He's not supposed to be like giving any public sermons or doing any podcasts.
Okay.
So he'll be able to like minister in the 24/7 prayer room or something like that. I don't know. But he'll still be being in a leadership position.
That's
bad. That's so bad.
It's a damn bird cage. So
bad.
Like it's straight up a bird cage.
And then we've got that Robert Morris that stepped down from Gateway Church in Dallas, Texas. Big MAGA preacher.
I briefly heard about something about the big church in Texas.
He has had 5 charges issued against him out of Oklahoma for bad behavior in the past. Dude's looking at 100 years in prison.
If anybody knows anything about big churches, Jerry knows what's up.
As an advocate against domestic and sexual violence and human trafficking, this is what I do.
Yeah, this is Jerry's wheelhouse here. Basically, this is what he does on a regular daily basis. Daily, this is his job. You know, he's doing this 10 hours a day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no joke, people. He's doing this stuff 10 hours a day.
And his dedication is way beyond what most of us would understand, as far as, you know, the MAGA cult or whatever it may be.
Right.
His dedication to human compassion, loving one another, and being of the Christ heart. I'll even use that. Jerry gets it, and he brings it forth. And you know, sometimes he gets pissed off, and sometimes there are things that you know that.
Ryan and I talk regularly on the phone. Well, not like we used to, but yeah, he knows my frustration levels sometimes get me to a point where it's just like I could chew leather and just if I had teeth.
So I want to get back here on topic, guys. Wingnut, what was when did you realize that, or maybe it was a feeling that was the like, that is so bizarre? Why would, you know, what was your point of this is an inclusive group? This is probably a borderline cult. Where was your point when you realized that MAGA was no longer willing to have an open and honest conversation about things, and they were very withdrawn into themselves, and if you don't look like us, you don't walk like us, and talk like us, then get out of here.
You don't wear a red hat.
Yeah, then get out of here, you. Right. When was that moment? Do you remember, or a moment around then, or give me something here.
2.5, 3 years ago is when I first started realizing that there was something not quite right because of my interaction with a
Chatelet. I'll go ahead and say it.
Yeah, he said the word.
The self-proclaimed Pastor Chatelet.
Yeah, he actually, he actually tried to recruit me into Kekistan. And I was over on Element on their chat, and I'm looking around going, wait, what the hell is going on over here? And so I reached out to Chatelet, and it's just like, oh, you just think Trump man bad. You got Trump derangement syndrome. And that developed into me having Trump disillusionment syndrome.
Warrior. It goes both ways, doesn't it? The TDS and the DST.
Yeah, dude. They're both. There's a great meme. It's a Family Guy cartoon where it's a couple, and there's a dude in the middle, and it's like Trump derangement syndrome and Trump worship syndrome, and the title goes, "Both of you are equally worthless." You know, and so I'm like, well, that makes a lot of sense to me. I kind of like that. The premise, it's a little harsh wording, but both extremes are just equally, the ideas are equally worthless. Okay, they're just terrible for humanity.
I've known for a long time that extremism in any form is bad.
Yes.
Well, yeah, of course it is.
You know, extreme drug addiction, extreme sex addiction, extreme alcoholism, extreme ideologies of any kind.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true. That's very true. You know, one thing. I'm sorry.
What was that Voltaire said? People that can be convinced of absurd.
You can make people believe absurdities. You can make people.
If you can get people to believe absurdities, you can get people to commit atrocities. Voltaire. French Revolution.
Awesome, Amy. Yes.
Thanks for having me get that word right.
Very good.
The real brains behind the operation. Okay.
This woman is so amazing. Anyway.
So there's also there's rhetoric talk that I spoke of earlier that I wanted to get to, that of MAGA. You know, they always if you listen to the tweets or one tweet from Dan Bongino really stands out to me, and I've noticed this in the way my interaction has been with certain people in a text format. text format it can be very snarky, very sarcastic, without the intention or the intention of, and it's almost like they're talking. Have you felt like you're being talked down to whenever you're engaging with these people? Like they're like, oh, how do you not know this? Duh, we're winning.
Yeah, I could name names, but I'm not going to.
I mean, DM me the names. It's my show. I'll name them. I don't care.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Just,
there's.
I mean, I had tons of MAGA friends.
Oh, I did too. Yeah, I did too. That's a shitty thing about it.
Or do. Just asking you again. Like we talk often. Did or do? Do you still have MAGA friends?
I have people who were friends when I was on the train, and we're no longer friendly, but we're respectful toward each other.
That's the main point, is the respect.
There's that, but that number is dwindled down to a handful of people,
and it's getting worse.
Yeah, it is getting worse. The further along we go, and the further along that MAGA doesn't want to recognize that $500 billion was given to AI for mRNA vaccine investigation technology under what the name of Stargate. The same guy who pushed the vax. And the thing is that I'm all about. I don't have TDS. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I do not hate the man. Okay.
No.
I'm critical of his actions and what he's doing currently and what he's done to our nation in the first administration.
Don't ask questions. Quick.
How dare I? How dare I ask questions? You, sir, cannot ask any questions.
Go ahead.
You're fine. You're fine.
I meant to interrupt, but
you're fine. That's the one thing too, is that when I see the rhetoric of the massive gatekeepers on and the massive influencers in the alt-right or whatever movement you want to call it, when it gets down to say pilled level, very, very small corner of the internet world, okay, very tiny little island in the middle of ocean of internet, okay. I listen, I see what how they speak, they type, and I'm thinking, man, all you're doing is you're repeating the same type of rhetoric. You're adopting someone else's identity. You're not. There's no self-identity with this at all when it comes to it.
You're simply not thinking for yourself. You're just part of the herd. Go back.
Right. That's how bots are born. Bots are not just strings of code. Somebody who just sits there and does a copy and paste, copy pasta.
The copy pasta.
The copy and pasta.
I had a few rounds of being put on a copy pasta wall by a certain chattelite.
Oh yeah, well I've had my round with him too. Actually, there's a channel on Pilled. I think it was started by him. It was the parody channel is Warrior in the Closet. I think it is. Yeah, kind of funny. So, which was kind of great because I haven't seen. I caught this person probably, oh my gosh, about 6-8 months ago at this point. They had given me a red pill on something I had posted, and then I caught it and I immediately responded saying, you're winning when your parody accounts likes what you're posting. It's like, yes. You guys cannot troll like me, okay? Because I'll do it with grace and style. So
we can troll just as well as Elon and Trump do. We still have that same damn power.
Yeah.
Shit.
Right. So
it's not beyond us. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're fine. You're fine. So when I know I'm fine. And these are you are fine. You're thinner than I am, so you're fine. It's not saying much though. But anyways, when I'm not. This is not intended to be a kvetching fest here. It's a genuine concern for people's well-being, because we've been where the MAGA cult has been. We've recognized that it's a cult in the aspects of you cannot criticize any of the leaders. You all dress the same. When you go live, you have pro Trump stuff, or you're hanging your flags in the background. I've been there too. There's individual thought is not allowed or encouraged within the group. And then you have the fifth factor of the same message being said by everybody. Everybody is quoting Q, trust the plan, patriots in control. All the other slogans that they're using. I just think of neuroplastic psychology when that happens. You use the same words. Trump's speeches are Cambridge analytic derived speeches. There are specific keywords that are used in the speeches to get people excited, to give them the warm fuzzies, if you will.
It's the same thing repeated over and over.
Yes, it becomes a giant. It's becoming a giant echo chamber. And so my concern is not necessarily to point out these people's inadequacies. That's unfortunately that's what they're going to see. That's what they're going to see, and I totally expect to have all kinds of pushback after this podcast. But I don't care. The pushback they give me is like a fly annoying me. Shoo fly, get out of here. Shoo fly.
I just used that analogy earlier today myself.
Oh, right.
I was like, I need to change my icon from the shield to an electric fly swatter.
Yeah, just the electric lamp you hang, the bug lamp you hang outside your.
Oh, no, I want one of those ones that look like a tennis racket.
Oh, I have one of those, man. Those things are awesome, by the way. They're really.
You're out and about, that mosquito comes by, you're like.
I saw you with yours the other day.
Yeah, I might have been drunk out there chasing birds or something. Who knows? Get out of here, you horse flies! Get out of here! Get! I gotta recharge this thing.
The pushback isn't bothersome. It's like you said during the monologue. I want to try to pull people out, even if it's just to go back into the system and pull one out at a time.
Right.
Because my life has gotten so much better since I quit looking at and reading Gateway Pundit articles and National File articles and blah blah blah.
Night and day, man. Night and day.
And I've moved on to where I'm comfortable with myself speaking my own mind. I have found a very wholesome church home with a congregation of people that genuinely care about their fellow human beings.
That's good.
That afforded me the opportunity to get into a legislative action team, which has actually given me a connection into Jeff City. If I work on that a little bit more, I'll have two. But right now, I got a lot else going on because there's all this chaos going on.
Right.
Okay.
Hold on, InnerG. Hold on, InnerG.
Hang on. Because I'm looping this into something that Warrior said earlier about Steve Bannon and him flooding the zone with everything. We got to flood the zone, and that's where we get to the chaos match.
Yeah, let's get this. And at some point in this conversation, let's
good. Honestly, this is a good segue, InnerG. This is where you come into play now.
The chaos.
Exactly.
This is a great segue. So I'm gonna go use the bathroom, guys. InnerG, you guys take it where you want to go with this. Now,
hold on. Before you
start with what the chaos magic is, and then let's work into how it's affecting us, and then how we can counter that.
Okay, hold it, because I do need to take a bathroom break myself. I gotta go pee.
Okay, so you go, you come back, and then I'll go. All right. So when it comes to so chaos magic, what is there is this you speak of this chaos. What are you referring to? When you talk about this chaos going on?
The base concept of chaos is just being so overwhelmed with so much of whatever. Like getting caught in a tornado. That's going to be a chaotic environment, and unless you're prepared for it, it's going to be disorienting. The same thing can happen with information.
Okay.
You can be given so much information that it's hard to keep up with. or
That's true.
that information's coming in from so many different directions on so many different topics. So security cuts, EA cuts, Ukraine, Israel, the list goes on. All this is being pumped out at the same time. It's
Kind of sounds like it's done on purpose.
Oh, it is. Just look at Lance Wallnau's 2 books, God's Chaos Candidate, talking about Trump, and God's Chaos Code, talking about the attempted re-election of Trump back in 2020.
Oh, and that also goes back to the cover of The Economist, where Trump is lighting the world of money on fire.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. I can see that. Interesting. All right. So the chaos is all the additional information coming out, is all the over here, over there, over here, over there, back and forth all the time.
And so what that does is that keeps you off balance, so that you can't be rational. Keeps you mentally off balance, and that way you can't filter through this storm of leaves that are whirling around you in this tornado that's inbound.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And that's the root of the chaos. And if they can keep you off balance, then you're more easily manipulated.
So hence why you want to keep people's hope alive for the Epstein files.
Yeah.
And where does it? Okay, I'm back.
Okay, go ahead, guys. Go ahead and take it from here.
Me and GI will bounce off each other for a minute.
We're good at that.
So with the chaos magic, that starts with, I mean, you can go back to not the person Shadowley, but the program of Shadowley.
Yeah, exactly. And that brings in the whole chaos god of Egypt, Kek.
Yes.
Frog.
Yeah, the frog. I mean, what was Trump like when the towers fell? What was sitting on his desk?
Now, that particular detail I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, it was the frog with Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Oh. I did not know that. Now,
did I actually tell you something you didn't know already?
Yeah, but actually that kind of no, Amy's right. That doesn't happen every day, but you do that to me on occasion, InnerG. But that actually kind of makes sense when you think about the fact that Donald Trump's mentor, Roy Cohn, who was chief legal counsel for Joseph McCarthy during the Red Scare, the second Red Scare in the 50s, late 50s. He also later mentored Roger Stone and Donald Trump. And Roy Cohn was gay and absolutely loved frogs. and from a conversation that I was having with Chops, I think I was running the Where's My Roy Cohn documentary. And Chops mentioned something about frogs at one point were a hidden sign of gaydom at one point. I have not been able to verify that, but
well, push it into Revelation.
Oh yeah,
right.
Well,
so the frogs, the frogs. Go ahead.
Well, in the Exodus, the 7 plagues.
Right.
There was a plague of frogs.
Yep.
Anyway,
and so
that would be chaotic. A plague of frogs. That would be chaotic.
And what did I'm being rhetorical right now. What did the frogs do? Trick question. It's rhetorical.
They rained down from heaven.
And what did they do when they got here?
They flooded everything. I mean, it was an infestation, is what it was, of frogs.
Right.
Like supposedly, from what I understand, is that there are so many frogs that it actually choked the Nile River.
There you go. You're on it. Yes. That's where I was going.
Okay.
I was kind of baiting you to get there. So yeah.
I actually, this is going to be kind of fun. I've got a project that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and maybe the three of us can collaborate. But a while back, I was gifted some videos, and one of them is an origin story of Keck. And from what I understand, and I haven't watched these yet, but from what I understand, in that Keck documentary, the origin of Chatelet is in there. And I think it would be kind of neat if we set up sometime to maybe just like sit down and do a cold watch and find out what's in these. They're like about a half hour each, or I think there's like 3 or 4 of them.
And if you're playing World of Warcraft, right? This is where I originally learned this, which is really fucking obscure.
Right.
But the Alliance, LOL, when you talk to the Horde, it was Keck.
Yeah.
Their response to you was Keck.
Right, because a lot of the other players were in South Korea, and the LOL doesn't translate. So, but it does translate to KEK. Now, if you go back to Egyptian mythology, Keck is a frog deity, frog head, human body, and right as before Ra is because Ra is controlling the sun, right? So he is the one that brings the dark to light. Is this Egyptian god? Okay, I'm not joking. This is true.
No, you're not joking.
Probably Alexandria did a nice 22.5-minute video on this, and I took 10 hours to verify everything she was saying about this the cult of Keck, as she calls it, and that
might actually be the video that I have.
It probably is the same video, but she went on to say that, and this is true. You have this frog god bringing in the dark to light, bringing in the sun from nighttime into it's dawn. It's a dawn god is what it is, and they usher in the light, from the darkness to the light. So you have that whole dichotomy right there. Not to mention, go ahead.
Yeah. That was also one of those Q slogans, from dark to light.
Oh yes.
The name of the
slogan from the Ascended Masters too, isn't it? InnerG.
The name of the original Egyptian god was Hemorpheus. And his wife was Kakutet. So put it together. It's really freaking easy, y'all. Like it's really easy if you look at it. And I'm not trying to be yes, I'm all a smart ass, but it's not that hard to put together. Like what they're doing, because Elon said that there will always be war. Whether it be interplanetary, whether it be on the planet, whatever it may be.
Well, a Jew would say that. Somebody who's Jewish would say that.
Let's not go there.
Now, I'm not going there. I'm just stating it. Because this group of people, this mafia, if you will, this Jewish mafia, they want destruction. They want chaos. That's
of
what.
Of course they do.
So, but anyways.
I'll
stop.
Do you remember? Like it was 2 years ago, I said Elon is Butters. and I made
Professor Chaos.
I made it.
Remember that.
I like
That's
Professor Chaos is here.
Professor Chaos.
And that was way before Dojo or any of that shit. Like I saw it coming. I saw it coming.
Good stuff.
I knew what, and so he can throw his hands up as Professor Chaos. He can also do a Nazi salute or what. My main point being, I saw this shit coming a long time ago. Through the DOD, the DOJ. I knew what he was doing. I knew that he and Trump were working together for a long fucking time, even though they're just now talking about it or making it obvious to everyone else.
Yeah.
I saw it. call it foresight, call it whatever. But I knew what was happening and what was going to happen through that person, that entity, that being. And I made shit. Do I have the meme? Nah, I'm not going to take time to pull up the meme or try to find it right now.
So we have this chaos stuff going on. This massive amount of misdirection. Jim Bob out there, if he's still here, Jim Bob 71. He mentioned, what did he say? Something about, are we saying keeping his supporters off balance, or is he keeping his opponents off balance? Big difference.
Everybody.
Well, the thing is that there's only supposed opponents of Trump right now, because the left or the mainstream media, they have their role to play. Their role is to bring up dissent and have the opposite point of view of the narrative here. That's their propaganda wing that they're in charge of. The other propaganda wing that the right is in charge of is to, quote unquote, to scapegoat and try to discredit what the left is saying. And so there's this back and forth of reality is that they're both sides are retarded. And the sad thing is that there's a lot of people. Yes. There's a lot of people who fall for it. They fall for the extreme camp of the MAGA train. They fall for the extreme camp of whatever.
I'm gonna get hooked on phonics real quick, and they did fall for it.
They did.
They fell.
They fell for it. Yeah, it's a
fallacy.
Well, the whole ruse is quite, to be honest, to get this many people on board of one particular item or one particular topic, that takes a lot of brainwashing to do, because you have to be very, very convincing. Even through the bad stuff, you still have to be convinced that the man that is your guy is the one that is being persecuted. Just like all these during
that's why Obama, his fucking ear. That's why his ear was shot.
Well,
off.
just like Biden, just during Biden's administration, the last administration, right? You had all these court cases, the 4 or 5 court cases that were against Trump. Every single one of them failed. Why? Is because there was no evidence there, and MAGA was like, oh my gosh, he's being persecuted. And then you saw all the mugshots and the T-shirts and all the additional swag and the streak. I call it street cred.
What about the Band-Aid on the ear?
Dude,
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So then we have this street cred, and as I was saying on PTP's show, and people were like, "Oh, whatever. You're just you're hating on him for no reason." I'm like, no. See, he has to cover up the shit he didn't do from his first administration. He has to cover up the things that he did during his first administration by this ruse of I'm being persecuted. And how many memes and stickers do we see of Trump with Jesus' hand on his shoulder?
Yeah.
How many that right there? Dude, I call myself a bad Christian, and that right there was pissing me off.
And I gotta cut through at this point. What about the flag that everybody, like when Trump got supposedly shot in his fucking ear? The flag.
Oh, the folded. Oh my gosh.
Dude, right. That is so fucking ridiculous.
I'm like, no, guys, that's just.
CJ Jura just brought up a very valid point. Also, his snake speeches.
How many times did he?
You know who I was.
You knew who I was when you let me in, silly woman. Yeah, it's like, well, these things. Did we forget what Q said as well? Like there's double meanings and things. So everything has to be analyzed this way. And if somewhere along the line, MAGA stopped analyzing the way that they used to back in 2017, 2018, 2019, we were savages. We were looking at everything. All the symbolism mattered. Everything freaking mattered about something, right? And now it's gone away. It's like, well, you need to follow Trump. Well, why not? You're a racist and a bigot. I hate you. Get out of here.
Fucking Nazi!
You Nazi! Fucking retard! You get that kind of stuff. I'm like, well, I'm thinking about. I'm sitting here going, First of all, get your finger out of my face before I break it off and shove it up your ass. Second of all, we can have a nice conversation over a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. You want to go have one? And then third of all, don't ever talk to me in that manner again. So, but that's been the response.
Man.
What's
Boundaries.
that?
Boundaries.
Boundaries. Well, some people don't understand boundaries.
No means no, motherfucker.
No means no. No. Well, never mind. I won't go there. Nope. I want to have future conversations with GI here, and I don't want Amy to go, I don't like you talking to him. I don't want you talking to him. I don't want to.
She's been over here chuckling.
Good. Okay. Good. All right.
As well as I know Amy so far, she's not going to say, don't talk. No. She's going to let him go. She's going to let him go.
Yep. Let him go. Yeah. So we have this, back to the Keck thing. We have these mascots, if you will, these heroes. And when I first started, and I'm just speaking from my own point of view, because all three of us we were all MAGA trained for a little bit. We were all part of the cult for a little bit, and then we recognized that the way that the movement is going, the lack of conversation, the lack of let's just talk about what ifs, the lack of theorizing, any of that kind of stuff just went out the window.
Before you go into that, man, can I just say, I'm going to, the things that Jerry, as of that my children being on Medicaid, there are so many things that are being jerked out from under our fucking feet without having any way to resolve it. It's happening quick, very quickly.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends that are experiencing this directly. And it's not bullshit. It's not some kind of, this is the way the system needs to be tore down. Well, what about the system that we were part of that is now being torn down, that was part of our family or our parents or where we're at now?
Yeah.
And we're somewhat dependent on that system, and now it's being jerked out from under us. And Jerry can say first freaking hand, being a vet, it's not okay without giving us some kind of leeway between here and there. We're not given any promise. It's just like, fuck y'all, and they jerk it out in front of you. And people go ahead.
The school lunch programs being chopped, that affects all four of my grandkids.
Yep.
The Medicaid cuts, that affects me as well as just pretty much everybody I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing my Medicaid does for me is pay my Medicare premium.
And we have so many people that don't have children or aren't being directly affected. They're like, yeah, just keep fucking ripping it down. No, how about slow the fuck down and make it a little bit more cohesive and adhesive to our lives, because we have been, you served your life for how many years, GI?
I served 4.5 years.
And you gave your life for that, didn't you?
Well, I was willing to die for my country because I thought that's what I needed to do as a good God-fearing American Christian boy.
Yep, therein comes Christian nationalism.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's where it all gets fucked up.
It's supposed to be your patriotism, right? Your patriotic duty to go die for your country, right?
Right. And then to amplify that with some of the chaos magic, mixing in some of the chaos magic stuff. When I was in the Assemblies of God Church back in the 70s, we also had
Thanks.
Late Great Planet Earth. That the movie and the book, Late Great Planet Earth, by Hal Lindsey, came out, and that just chucked us deeper down the Book of Revelation rabbit hole because of that whole end times thing. And then Mike Warnke popped up on Christian Broadcasting Network and 700 Club and Ken Copeland, and he's the guy that wrote that book, The Satan Seller. Claimed he had been a satanic high priest and became a Christian comedian. I went back and looked at some of this stuff. Oh man, it was dark. But he had high school classmates come out and say he was never a Satanist.
Hey, do you mind if my cousin comes in and talks?
Sure, that's fine. I do have a question I want to present to everybody real quick before it escapes my mind here. We talk about the cults and the fervor that these people have, and the blinders or the narrow vision that they have. Now, my question is I have this, and maybe it's just me, but I have this feeling in my gut that the rug is going to be pulled out from underneath all of us. That something is going to, some information is going to come out, or something's going to happen to where where the MAGA people are going to have a psychological break, where something's going to happen or information's going to come out where it's undisputable, and they're not going to be able to process that event, and they literally have mental breakdowns to where they off themselves, or they go into a deep stupor of depression. Well, hold on. The thing is if you remember in 2020, after after Biden had won and Trump had lost, how much air was deflated out of the entire movement, right? People were demoralized. That's when they went real MAGA. That's when they went real dark MAGA or black pilled or whatever you want to call it.
Before Elon threw the
all that kind of stuff. I just see these patterns developing over time to where there's build up, and then there's a drop off of letdown. And then the next time it's even higher and steeper, build up, and then the drop is even further.
It's like it is literally like deep sea fishing. You reel them in, you give them enough, you let them gain their strength, and then you reel them in more until you get them.
There's actually a historical pattern to this. When it comes to false prophecies that fall through, let's just take the rapture, for example. It is statistically and historically proven that a false prophet can miss that rapture thing, but he'll turn around and go, "Oh, but you're praying, save the world, and so God didn't need to come." And only about 20% of the people will leave.
Did Amy just say boom?
Well, she didn't use that word, but she's like, But yeah, when a prophecy fails, and I can't remember the exact cult, but they went up on a mountaintop. They sold all their stuff and gave everything away because they knew God was coming. Yep. And they go up on this mountaintop, and then the rapture doesn't happen. They're in this fervent prayer. It doesn't happen. And so the cult leader turns around and goes, "Good job. Y'all saved the world with your prayers. God changed his mind. He doesn't have to destroy it now." And nobody had anything. And there were several, but of the 80% that stuck around, several of them starved to death or succumbed to the environment.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the church that actually did that. So, but yeah, it's a thing.
That sort of scenario can be applied to any of these high demand groups.
Pretty much any of the big churches.
Not just big churches. It can show up in time. Heaven's Gate.
I was just going to say Heaven's Gate was a small group.
Yeah, it was a small group, and apparently they didn't all kill themselves because their website's still active.
So they didn't drink the Kool-Aid.
Thanks, Shimbot, for coming in, man. Yeah, I know we're reaching 2 hour mark. Appreciate you being here.
All right,
Appreciate your time. And again, your time is very valuable to me, Jim, and I do appreciate you being here. So have a good night and be well. So
all right,
let's see here.
I'll be back again. I gotta walk. I gotta pee again. I'm gonna smoke.
Okay.
I need a break. Like I often need a break when it comes to shit like this. For real.
Oh no, you're fine. Yeah, you're fine. Take. I just got a couple more things I want to get. I want to get to here. I want to get to the
I think Chops is right. I think the example I'm thinking of was that early Watchtower Tract Society.
Okay.
They were a splinter group, but anyway, yeah. Thanks, Chops.
I want to get to let's see here. Somebody. No, well, we'll put that on the Truth Junkie. We'll put that on the back burner for now. Well, you have two. You have Trump as the Antichrist, just saying no hide laws. Those are. That's kind of for a different discussion. I mean, I'm all about having that discussion, but that's maybe next week we'll have that discussion. But tonight, I want to keep it kind of on the cult stuff. So, one thing, another thing I witnessed, and I'm sure you guys did too, and I want to hear your opinion on this, is the Operation Ear Pierce with the attempted assassination of Trump, the alleged assassination attempt on Trump.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You're going to have to give me a little more. This is the first time I've heard of Operation Ear Pierce.
It's just a name we made. I didn't make it up. Salty Nuts made it up.
Okay.
And he just called it Operation Ear Pierce because it's like the amount of blood that came out would be the amount of ear piercing, pretty much.
Yeah, but there was some stage blood mixed in with.
Oh well, there was no actual blood there. It was all stage blood. It was all stage blood. But anyways, go ahead. Give me your opinion on the events. Did it actually happen? And then MAGA's response that you witnessed.
Oh wow! Yeah, I definitely. As far as okay, the event itself was tragic. A man actually lost his life, and other people were injured.
Yeah.
As far as it being an attempt at a psyop, a dead man is considered collateral damage that might be categorized as acceptable losses. These are military terms that I'm using.
Uh-huh.
These are ways of justifying bombing a village to kill one guy.
Well, it's exactly what Israel's doing.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Precisely. Yeah. But the thing is, any good psyop is going to have that human life loss element, like 9/11, for example. We all know 9/11 was a massive inside job. It was not the Arabs that did it, and there were 3,000 people that passed away to validify this attack, to validify that our enemies are Arabs, some actual Semitic people. So when I see these type of events that occur, especially when I saw the Operation Ear Pierce, first thing is like, well, I've nicked my own ear before, and I've bled out twice as much just from a small laceration in my ear from a thorn when I was going through brush than Trump did when he said there was blood everywhere. It was so much blood. It was gross. It was just everywhere, all over my hands. And then you look at his hands, and his hands have no blood on them.
Right.
I'm thinking. I'm thinking.
It definitely whipped up the fervor.
Right.
It gave that martyr status to dear leader.
Of course. And
absolutely,
he learned a lot from Hulk Hogan.
Hey, you listen here, brother.
By the way, Hulk Hogan's wife is a Scientologist and a guru or a yoga instructor.
Why does that not surprise me?
So back to chaos magic.
Yes,
there we go. Chaos magic. Yep.
With Keck, with the whole idea of reversing an LOL to a KK that turns it into something that it was not. There's a diversity of ideology. And if you played World of Warcraft, you know what I'm talking about. And they are playing chaos magic. There's no
Motherfuckers. Ah, that pisses me off. Fucking. Hold on. Let me get this link back in here. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. Here's the link back. Paste. Get you guys back in here. All right, and that's the shitty part about having a free internet thing, is that right around the 2-hour mark, boom, supposedly somebody wants to drop your entire show, which is just ridiculous. And this is what I don't like about this. Yeah, I've got to pay for something that's more stable, plain and simple. So I went ahead and DM'd you guys the link again. This is the third time this has happened to me about having a guest on my show through Jitzi, and 3 times, shame on me. So I do apologize for you guys. Please come back if you can hear my voice. Please come back. We need to finish this conversation. We really do, because it is good. It is getting a bit late. Starting to get late. So InnerG, if you can hear my voice, come back. Oh my gosh. This is fun. Fun times, right, people? Yay. Fun times. So just let you guys know, if you're ever wanting to get into podcasting or get into any type of things of this nature, yeah, right, fight. Yeah, that whole notion right there, that was ridiculous. The entire aspect now, and when I brought it up to MAGA or somebody within MAGA, their immediate response is, somebody fucking died. Okay, there were 3,000 people that died at 9/11, and we now are under a general consensus that 9/11 was a constructed inside job, whether it be through Israel, wherever you want to believe. It was not done by the hijackers of the planes and all that kind of stuff. Okay, it just wasn't. I called BS live. I don't know if you guys can come back in or not. Let me know. I don't know if it just completely kicked you guys out. Let me text these guys here. Hold on a second. Okay. I can't text him right now. That's right, because he's on a landline. Okay, well, if you, InnerG, if you can still hear, come on back, brother. Come on back. And GI, if you can hear me, come on back. So, because we need to finish this conversation. But when it came down to Operation Ear Pierce, the whole notion of a 5.56 or a 7, any kind of caliber, 223, 5.56, same thing. At a hyper speed like that, at traveling 3,000 some odd feet per second, that's a crack. And at 110 yards, anybody should be able to hit a headshot at 110 yards, 400 feet, easy peasy. A blind man can do it, for example. But it was the whole everything around it. Everything around it. We saw the sniper and all that kerfuffling, and then where the shooter was at on top of the building, which housed all the security around the area right there. The fact that we saw something on the water tower, and then the flag was twisted up in a way where it looked like an angel, like the meme we've seen of the flag wrapped up in that looked like a dove before. I mean, come on, people. That somebody was just that was their job, was to take 8,000 pictures that day of that flag to make sure that the flag was wrapped up. Okay. That's that. Was it unfortunate that someone died? Sure, it's always unfortunate when someone dies, right? But the whole premise behind it is Trump, his Secret Service group was changed last minute, which is sus. But they had, when you're protecting somebody, you're not going to hire somebody who's a foot shorter than the one you're protecting. The idea is that you, as the bodyguard, is supposed to be tall enough to tower over and cover yourself over the other person. It's not the other way around. So I don't think these guys are coming back in here. But I'll go ahead and leave this open here for a little bit longer. So and then the fight scene toward the end, and he said there was so much blood, and there's always blood here and down here, down his cheek, and a little bit on his ear, a little on his right ear. Sorry, a little bit on his right ear, just a little bit. There wasn't blood everywhere. There wasn't any blood on his hands at all. None at all. He was more worried about getting his shoes than he was about getting shot at again. And then the very next day, he went golfing. The very next day. I don't know if any of you guys have been shot at, but that's, especially, I'm pretty sure that's the first time Trump has been shot at officially. And that experience right there, you're not going to want to go out in the public anymore. You're not going to want to go out there and go, I'm going to go golfing. It's going to be wonderful. T4. No. None of that is true. The entire aspect of it was just completely hogwash, and all it was to do is to give him more street cred, to give him that messiah complex that people desired so much. I don't know. So if there's ear tampon at the RNC convention, I was on Pete's show when the RNC convention had and Trump was speaking that day. I went ahead and I made myself a little, on his right ear, I made a little pillow that I taped to my head and stuff, and I used tape to exaggerate it and shit. It was quite entertaining, to be honest. But and just the when hearing responses of the event really put a lot of people in a lower IQ category for me, because there was this inability for them to analyze the entire situation without their feelings. There was a lot of emotion wrapped up in that event. A lot of emotion, a lot of loosh was harvested that day. So you got to keep things in perspective here, people, because it's not what we're seeing is not true. What people around the PILD, especially specifically here on PILD, what they're pushing out is not the 100% true. Sure, it might be true in some ways, but it's more like a true fallacy where they're not telling you the entire truth of things. They're walking right up to the line and then backing back down. Me, there is no line. I'll go right to the fucking source, and I'll say exactly what I want to say. With me, I'm never going to filter myself. I'm never going to filter any of my fans. I'm never, even the dissenters, I'm not going to block them at all, because I just think that's, if you're going to block someone because you disagree with what they say, the problem is with you, not with me. All right. Let's see, the short ass ice all her gun. Yeah, she couldn't. Yeah, I saw that. It was pathetic. Revisit sometimes I can go through this with you and InnerG. Send me some, DM me some information of what you got. If you got like a presentation or videos or whatever, send me the stuff and I'll look through it for sure. Yeah, and then we can probably take another look at it. Absolutely. Mom is never smarter than the dumbest member. This is heavily exploited in Chaos Magic. Right. The there's the same way with you're never as strong as your weakest link, sort of thing. That kind of mentality. I understand that. That makes a lot of sense. So and in closing, I'm I'm sorry you got kicked. InnerG, I'm sorry you got kicked. You guys didn't come back in the chat, so I'm a little worried now. That wasn't my doing. That was Jitzi who completely pushed you guys out, and this is again the third time. I'm not using this program again. I am not going to be using Jitzi again because I want to do long-term conversations, 2.5 hours, sometimes 3-hour conversations with people where you really get a lot of the information out. And this 2-hour mark bullshit is just not doing it. So Jitzi is good for small meetings, people. If you want to have a conversation with somebody under an hour, go for it. Otherwise, Jitzi sucks dick. So you just talk to him. All of the debate, can't care. Let's see. I'm all for the debate. Don't care about what color who is. No, it's not a debate. It's more of a discussion. It's an information discussion is what it is. That's how I would see it. Just to put information out there, and whoever wants to run with it can. I can't force you all to think how I think. I can't do that. That's me implying pushing my will. But the thing is that what I do want you guys would like to do is I would like you guys to think critically, and if you're still here tonight, I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for thinking critically, for being here, for spending your time here. You could be anywhere else. You could be one of the 300 people that's watching fucking basketball right now, or maybe not anymore. But there was over 300 people watching basketball earlier. How fucking pathetic. Yeah, I'm sure, but I don't want to have to fuck around with the program at all. I want to be able to plug and play. I've got enough stuff going on in the background with OPS and the music and stuff like that. I shouldn't have to do that. So I'll pay $20 a month or whatever it is for Zoom and have a dedicated phone number. I just need to do that. I need to pull the trigger on it, get a dedicated phone number, get a dedicated account for Zoom, because that seems to be the best program out there for conversations, for meetings or whatever. So, but anyways, so tonight, whether you think MAGA is a cult or not, that's going to be up to you guys. I think it is. We've all expressed our ideas and the actions of what the basic level of cultism is, and not occultism, but cultism, and the extremes that MAGA people are defending, and then the rest of everybody else who is asking questions. Because there's a lot of defense, but there's not a lot of explanation. There are not a lot of thorough explanations. All right, I've been told several times that I can be debunked within 2 minutes. Well, that opportunity has been on the table for over 2 years, for over a year, and I've yet to be told that I'm wrong, or that my points are mute in a 2-minute time span. So I encourage it, though. I encourage that. I'll accept that challenge. But the challenge will never come, because it's virtually impossible to do so, because every time I call myself, I question every step that I take, every decision that I'm making, and you guys will see that. You guys will see that in the Exit the Cave when next week, that I've got some questions about Hitler, and we're gonna be watching a video or a couple of videos over the next week where we're gonna be questioning that. So and the fervor between that. So. I think MAGA is a cult. Honestly, I really do. Now people can leave the cult for sure. They can see the grift for what it is, and that they have that ability to do so. But that requires a certain level of fortitude and a certain level of self-starter mentality, if you will, that needs to come from the people. There's a certain level of trust, trusting the Creator, that everything will be okay. There's been a group of us that have come out in the wilderness because we've left the security of the herd, and we've moved out into the wilderness where we're thriving and surviving. We're doing very well. The numbers are growing. I'm seeing many numbers in my chats that I have not seen before. Many names in my chats I have not seen before. So lurkers, welcome. If you're here new, welcome. I appreciate you being here. I don't hate MAGA people. I don't hate Trump. I don't hate Cash Patel. I don't hate these people. I can strongly disagree with them if I want to. As a matter of fact, it is our duty, it's our responsibility to be critical of our leaders, supposed our leaders. But then the question arises too: is like, why do you want to be governed? Why do you want the control of your mind? Are you not able to do that yourselves, or do you have to have a higher entity to dictate to identify who you are? Because a lot of it too is, I think it becomes why people are so they have this cult-like mentality, is because the MAGA has become their identity. It's become who they are, and they've gone full headstrong into this entire topic. And I see that behavior. And that behavior is consistent with a lot of different cults. Okay, Scientology, you name it, doesn't matter. You see this head diving into the shallow end with their members, and I see a lot of that with MAGA. I see them full bore, putting all their eggs in the one basket, and I really worry about their psychological being when the rug will be pulled out, because the rug is going to be pulled out eventually, people. And I really wonder and worry about those people's psychological beings, as just people, as just regular people. As a human being, I have empathy and compassion for their mental state of being, and I don't want them to be depressed. I don't want them to be all, like nothing is ever going to get done and stuff like that. That's not my intention. However, I have to be realistic about what could happen in the future. And when the information comes out, and how people are going to react to it. Because, like I said before, there are a lot of nice people on Pilled. Maybe a lot of good intended people, and their intentions are good. But they're just not educated. They're ignorant, and they've gotten to a point where this is as far as I want to go with my knowledge and my base, and I'm gonna plateau with this, and I don't want to talk to anybody else. There's a lot of content creators who do not want to have any kind of conversation at all. None at all. Not even a friendly conversation about anything. And so, how do you talk to those kind of people? I don't know. Maybe you're not supposed to. I'm gonna have to pray about it, about engaging with these people before, but engaging with MAGA anymore. But I don't think I'm going to be honest. I'm not here for MAGA. My shows are not designed for MAGA. I'm here for those people who, like in Plato's proverbial Plato's cave, those that have recognized that the shadows on the wall are the same ones repeating over and over and over again, and that what they're being told is an illusion of reality, and their perspective is what they believe. So the people who've broken the chains understand the perspective is different when they stand up. They understand that the shadows on the wall are nothing but shadows and a story being told. And they understand that there's a way out of the cave, but they're lost. They don't know how to go out. They don't know how to leave the cave. Well, that's what I hope to do. That's what I'm trying to do, is help people out of the cave. Be like Lot. Go back in the city. Try to find one more holy person. Go back in the cave. Try to find one more person who stood up and broke their own chains off. Help them adjust to the new light. Help them see, guide them, make sure they don't bang their head up against the wall, but if they fall down, help them up, and help them and encourage them to keep moving forward. That's the idea. That's the idea of the Exit the Cave, because I have an enormous amount of compassion for these people, but I don't know why. I don't know why I have empathy for these people, for MAGA, because they obviously have no empathy, they have no sympathy, and there's no love from them at all. They're a majority of them, or the ones that are vocal, I should say, the ones that are vocal are it's very nasty rhetoric that I want nothing to do with. If culture is downwind of politics, or politics is downwind of culture, I want nothing to do with either set. No, it's not good for anybody. So, that being said, it has been a wonderful time here in the dojo. My guest InnerG and GI Wingnut. Sorry guys for the show dropping you. Again, the next time we do a call-in show, I'm gonna have I'll have a Zoom account. Is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna have a Zoom account, and you guys will have dedicated phone numbers if you want to call in. But for sure, you'll have dedicated actual service. unlike the bullshit we were experiencing tonight. So, yeah, tonight's been good. If you still think MAGA's a cult, great. If you don't, great. But the conversation that need to be put out there, other people that other than myself or Salty or somebody else, it needed to come to the table. It needed to be brought. Now will there be a 2.0 of this conversation? Maybe. We'll have to see in the future. But I think we can kind of spiral out from this to encompass more of of the umbrella effect of what we're talking about here. So tomorrow is Sunday, Disconnect Theater, guys, and I think what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna play so I'm gonna do Stoner View 3, and there's gonna be I'll give you a sneak preview of the movies tomorrow. I think you guys will like these. These are either that or hold on. You know what? I'll just go ahead and get a synopsis here from you guys. All right. I'll show you the list. I'll show you the playlist here. All right. Where is it? Here we go. So we could either A, compassion for people without reason is the Christ consciousness, in my own opinion. Much love and respect, brother. Thank you for what you do. Thank you, Truth Junkie, for coming in. InnerG, yeah, dude. It just drops you. This is the third time I've had people dropped out of my show, and for no fucking reason. It's really crazy. So, if you guys can still hear me, hopefully you guys can still hear me. Let's see here. Let me check OBS, make sure everything's up and running. Yeah, you guys should hear me. So right here, now you guys are gonna vote on this. Put a 1 in the chat for the Stoner Review number 3, where it's Idiocracy, Half Baked, Your Highness, Up in Smoke, the Cheech Chong, and then Slammin' Salmon, or the video games where we can watch Tron, Mortal Kombat, the newer one, Pixels, and Ready Player One. Which one? 1 or 2? I think number 1 is probably a little bit better. A little wider variety, lots of laughs. I want to laugh tomorrow. I want to laugh, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do Stoner Review number 3, Idiocracy, Half Baked, Your Highness, Up in Smoke, and the Slammin' Salmon. That'll top us out about 7.5 hours. Either one is 7.5 hours. So either playlist is 7.5 hours. But I want to laugh, so I think we're gonna watch this list here. Number 1, I think, yep, Zombie 5 is right there. Yeah, I dropped you off at 2 hour mark too. Yeah, so this is the last time I'm gonna be using Jitzi. Jitzi's good for an hour at most, and then that's it. You gotta get off of it. So here's a sneak preview for tomorrow. Here's what we're gonna be watching. Everything starts at noon Central, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Make sure your popcorn is popped. Make sure you have your preferred beverage. And get ready if you smoke. Make sure you have all your accoutrement you need for your Sunday afternoon of relaxing, because everybody needs time just to relax, and that's why I do Disconnect Theater. It's just to get people off of watching sports, off of watching the news all the time. Get away from all the other propaganda bullshit, and just to watch some stories just for story's sake. Not to think about anything, but just to watch a dumb show. So, all right, guys, I'm Audi 5000. Be well. I appreciate y'all being here, InnerG and GI. I'm sorry again for the technical issue, but it just Jitzi just drops people from the meeting for no reason. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and what am I gonna do? I'm gonna play some music for you guys real quick. I'll go ahead and get this up here. I'm gonna get rid of this Jitzi here. Turn this off, and then I'll come back here for a second. Dojo cam. Activate. Okay, and show here. Yeah. Oh, there we are. Look at that hair. Looking pretty nice, huh? Looking pretty nice. Just joking. What hair I have left, right? What hair I have left. So tomorrow, Disconnect Theater. Then Tuesday, Thursday, we have Exit the Cave, and it's going to be some good shows there. That seems to be a pretty popular one, and it's designed to help you guys. So Man, it's been a hell of a day, guys. It really has. I really do appreciate you being here. It's been a week, and it's not gonna get any slower. Things are only gonna get faster, guys. I'm telling you. So that being said, everyone out there, be well, have a good night, and I will talk to you guys later. Okay? Don't do the thing I wouldn't do. Well, maybe. All right. Later, guys. Bye.